already. This is going to be exciting.
Yeah, they got career starts up to go. Green flag is out and underway.
Just a few laps into this. Oh, the 37's getting loose. Oh, and he saves it. Oh, they're going 3 wide.
We've got a 5-way fight for the win of this race coming to 4 laps to go. He's gonna win it here in spectacular fashion.
Welcome to the Goat Locker Racing Invets Xfinity Series, Series number 5. Looking forward to this one here on V-Speed, your number one source for online racing coverage here. This race, of course, is brought by our title sponsor, Invets, helping vets in Indiana. Also brought to you by Lincoln Tech. Put your potential to work. And also being brought to you by Save 22, fighting first responder and veteran suicide. I'm Ken Huber, and with me in the booth, I got Daniel Cunningham. Eddie Smith is on the controls, and our cameras are being provided by Dougie Beard. So we're here at Talladega there, Daniel. Glad to have you on board. It's the second time working together. What do you think of this race that we're about to partake tonight?
Yeah, Ken, it's great to be back up here in the booth with you again. A little bit different than what we did the last time we were together, where we were watching Indy cars at Sebring, of all places. So, yeah, a little bit different here tonight. A little bit different format for this series as well. The Xfinity cars used to run on Tuesday nights. We had trucks here on Sunday. Moved things around a little bit so we could actually have a full-time IndyCar series this fall. But, man, I have been looking forward to this one. We're wrapping up what has been a great action-packed first week of the fall season here at Goat Locker at Talladega. And I think these guys are going to be ready to go as well. As we take a look at our schedule, again, here at Talladega tonight, Auto Club next week. Then we head off to, my personal opinion, the greatest track on iRacing.
Absolutely.
Gift to NASCAR, Darlington Raceway. See the rest of the schedule there. Ken, is there any race that you're personally looking forward to, or any race that stands out to you?
Oh, sure. The three, season? You mentioned it, Darlington, Milwaukee, Watkins Glen, those three. Probably, if I was in this race, maybe Dover. If I was in this series, those would be tracks I would have my eye on for sure. But tonight we're at the Speedway. Matter of fact, you know, it's our first race of the season. Like you mentioned, it's Labor Day weekend, so it's going to be a hot Sunday night, and we've got pretty much a full field here to start here at Talladega. So Talladega is a world famous 2.66 mile tri-oval super speedway in Lincoln, Alabama, known for hosting high-speed NASCAR races and some of the most unpredictable finishes in the sport. It's the longest oval in NASCAR and has the steepest banking of any NASCAR track at 33 degrees. The track opened in 1969, and in 2019, major renovation project was completed, which added a new fan-focused garage, new amenities, and a new victory lane. The track is renowned for its pack racing, I should say, where cars draft closely together at high speeds, creating intense battles for position and often resulting in multi-car pileups known as the Big One. Hopefully we won't see any of those tonight, but you know it's going to happen, Daniel.
Yeah, it's always difficult to avoid that at Talladega. And you know, those virtual fans down there on the boulevard in the infield, probably ready to see a couple of those big ones. But, you know, some of these other series, we saw it on Wednesday night going caution-free, flag to flag green the entire race. The Friday night series, I believe only had 2 or 3 cautions in that one. So these drivers have been putting on really good shows here as qualifying is rolling. See George Jewell out there in that 36 car on track. And yeah, we're in for a good one here this evening, Ken.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, why don't we talk about what these guys are going to have to deal with as far as tires and fuel and what they're going to have to work with tonight.
Yes, sir. As we take a look at our race analysis, 50 laps, relatively short race here tonight at Talladega, 55 miles an hour pit road speed. Going to be difficult to get them woed up if there are green flag pit stops. We do have 4 sets of tires available in the pits. 2 attempts at a green-white checker finish if we need them. Running full fuel tonight, too. Something that, you know, some of our other series run a little bit of reduced fuel, makes for a few more green flag stops, but might be able to stretch it pretty close to the full 50. Think they're still going to have to stop once, but also running that iRacing fixed setup as these drivers get down near the end of qualifying. You can see our order over there on the left. Joseph McWhorter in the 72, currently sitting on pole. No sooner than I say that a couple drivers run faster, but Ken, as you mentioned, we've got pretty much a full field here tonight. Close to 40 drivers in this field, so qualifying definitely going to be imperative for these guys.
And you mentioned it being imperative. It's absolutely imperative because in this series, we have so many drivers trying to get into these races that they actually have to qualify their way into the field tonight to even make the show. So one of the things that is also new here for season 5 of the Xfinity series, actually for a lot of series here in Goat Locker Racing, is the fact that these guys are going to have to qualify to make their way into the field. So it adds a new twist when you show up. You got the nerves during qualifying. I know during maybe a plate race, you might not want to qualify and start towards the back, but you're kind of like maybe putting yourself in jeopardy and not making the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Been a lot of growth in Goat Locker over the summer. And as we get into the fall season, really cool just to see how many people are signing up for this series, coming out here and supporting not only the racing, but the cause that Goat Locker is all about, with supporting veterans, first responders, active duty military. So just awesome to see all of that support. As you can see on the ticker, 37 drivers have taken a lap. So we got 38 in the field as qualifying is now wrapping up. You can see that 77 car of Mark Whitley on the Jam Printing and Promotions Pole Award here this evening.
Yeah, so that we will go through our starting lineup, and like you mentioned earlier, our Jam Pole and Printing Promotion pole winner is Mark Whitley. No surprise there in the 77. On his outside, he'll have the 49 of Craig Bontrager. Starting in third on the inside road will be Mark Cofield. On his outside will be Joseph McWhorter. And out there in fifth on the inside, James Kaufman will start that 25 machine up against Charles Stevens in 84, starting in sixth. Starting in seventh, Charles Albert in the 7, with George Jewell starting in 8th. Starting in your 9th position on the inside, Jacob Ellingson, with Nick Reed on his outside in 10th spot.
And also, that's birthday boy Jake Ellingson starting in 9th here this evening, Ken. So something to keep an eye on. Just outside the top 10, we've got Dave Calvert starting in 11th. Jonathan Cofield rolling off in 12th. Rolling off in 13th, the 808 of Brett Bieber, with Chuck Pegleg Felts to his outside in 14th. Starting 15th, Noah Hogard. Outside in 16th is going to be Kevin Price. Starting in 17th, the 61 of Duncan Faw, and in 18th, the 14 of Chance Taylor. Rounding out our top 20, we've got Tyler Justice in 19th and Stephen Davis starting in 20th.
Starting in 21st will be Casey Jones in the 34 machine, with Jamie Lipke starting in 22nd. In 23rd, we got Jesse Willington in the 94 with Frederick Seagraves on his outside there in the 59. In 25th, we got Scott Yancey starting in 25th. And then in 26th, we got Samuel Yosef. And in the 27th position, Brandis Wallace starting in that 99 car. And then Kyle Deering starting in 28. 29th, we've got Daniel Parks in the 71 with Aaron Yancey on his outside in the 30th position.
Rolling off in 31st tonight, it's going to be Michael Jones in the 02. In 32nd, Brock Price in that 43 car. Tyler Rice in the 06, starting in 33rd with Zachary Tucker rolling off 34th. Ricky Sisk Jr. going to start in the 35th position tonight. In 36th, Patrick Hagan. Starting in 37th is going to be the 18 of Colton Sisk. And rounding out our field here this evening, Doug Ellingson in the 58, rolling off in 38th.
Yeah, what a large field here at Talladega tonight. We're going to probably see 3 and 4 wide racing. One thing of note, a couple of guys starting in the back, like Brandon Wallace. You know, I ran with him back in the 87s, and he's notorious for starting at the back of the pack and then working his way up. But, you know, this is Talladega, so this is basically game on for anyone. Anyone can win this race, and it sure gets exciting on a plate track.
It definitely does. And these Xfinity cars, personal opinion, these are my favorite ones on the super speedways. The bumpers line up really well. You can really shove and push without upsetting the other cars around you, more so than some of the other stock car, NASCAR vehicles. So we are going to be in for an action-packed night with a full field here at Talladega. Pace lights are off on that iRacing pace car. They are getting ready to come down for the green, Ken.
Yeah, that Ford Mustang ducks off onto pit lane, and we're about to set him free. The flagman's getting really nervous. He's watching Mark Whitley bring him to the green flag here with Craig Bontrager on his outside. The start-finish line is after the tri-oval, unlike Daytona, so we'll have to wait. And we are green flag, and they are away. And you can see Mark Whitley gets that normal start that he does, but that 49 on the outside getting a push from the 73, moving that car up there.
You can already see a little farther back in the pack, some drivers already trying to drop down to that inside line. One car a little bit further back mid-pack actually starts to blink out there. That is definitely less than ideal, especially at a packed track like Talladega. For right now, though, up front, these guys still 2 by 2, both lanes pretty even as they head down the back straightaway for the first time.
Yeah, Craig Bontrager getting a heck of a push right now in that outside
they're wrecking in the back of the pack already. The caution is out. Looked like the 50 of Kyle Deering, I believe Zachary Tucker involved in that. The 43 of Brock Price, Calamity early on here at Talladega. Michael Jones in the 02 also around in that. Doesn't look like he's got a ton of damage, but definitely some trouble early on here, Ken.
No, I've seen quite a bit of damage on the back of Brock Price's car. We're going to take another look and see exactly what happened here. We're looking at Brock Price right now, up against that outside wall. You can see him there as we come up and see exactly. There's an incident in front of him there. A bunch of cars. So a bunch of cars get together in front of him. Oh, and then he gets slammed in the rear. There's Kyle Deering there. You can see him spun around. We're watching Kyle Deering right now. You can see him pushing up front. Oh, and I think that car got a little bit loose and it slid him down, and that's what caused that incident.
Yeah,
this all happened.
Sorry, Ken.
No, this all happened at the back of the field, so it isn't quite the big one. This could have been way worse had it started up front.
Yeah, definitely a harder hit there for the 02 of Michael Jones than what I had initially seen. To see the 12 of Ricky Sisk, I believe that was also the 18 of Colton Sisk, and that was the 47 of Patrick Hagan that got into the back of Brock Price, as we were talking about there earlier. So quite a few cars with some substantial damage on that. You're probably going to have to take that fast repair a lot earlier than what they had wanted to here this evening.
Yeah, on this type of track, otherwise you get lapped really early. There's quite a bit of speed difference. Even when you don't have the draft and no damage on the car, you can end up a lap down within, say 7-8 laps. These Xfinity cars really need to be in the air too. I test drove them earlier today. I was getting about 40 laps on a green flag run, but they really slow. They're about 10, 15 miles an hour slower outside the draft. So with damage, it just makes it 10 times worse as we ride along there with Michael Jones after he probably got that quick repair and headed back out on the track.
Yeah, definitely not the start that some of these drivers were looking for, especially with as far back as that wreck took place. And it does look like Michael Jones, Ricky Sisk both did take their fast repairs here, as did Patrick Hagan as well. So now that kind of puts you in a little bit of a box for the rest of the race. You got to hope that you can avoid the rest of the carnage.
Well, here's an interesting bit of strategy. When you can go, I think this race was 50 laps. So you can go 40 laps on a full tank of fuel under green flag conditions. If we have a few more cautions, some of these guys are probably going to be able to stretch it out the entire time without actually having to go to pit lane. So we'll have to wait and see, of course. Right now, nobody's going to be able to make it. We're looking at some of our drivers right now, and while they're under caution, we've got live camera feeds with all these different drivers. I see Chuck Phelps and Jake Ellingson, George Jewell is in there as well as Sam Joseph and Jesse Wellington, it looks like. And is that Brandon Wallace in there? I think so.
That is indeed Brandon Wallace coming to us from the heart of Texas with his camera on tonight.
And we can't forget about Tyler Justice. Tyler Justice down there at the bottom there. Tyler Justice last night was putting on a heck of a show during the GT3 series on Saturday night. So he's out here again doing some oval car stuff.
Brandon must have the broadcast up in the background because he's given us a little hand gesture there, which at least it was two fingers instead of what he normally does with his hand gesture. So shout out to the 99 for having us on while he's racing here this evening. Appreciate the support, not just of him, but of everybody that's out there in the YouTube chat and any of our live chats. Appreciate y'all tuning in this evening.
Anyway, we're going to have, I think, one lap to go. You know, we didn't get a full lap in so far, Daniel. So hopefully maybe this next time around we'll get at least one lap in, get these cars up to speed, and see what everybody's got. We do have a new leader, though, and not that it's a big deal on a restrictor plate, but Craig Bontrager will lead him to the green flag when we do go green. That shifted McWhorter back and Whitley, his teammate. Both those guys, McWhorter's up a couple spots, and Whitley's down to third position. We got Mark Cofield back there in fourth, and then Charles Stevens is sitting there to round out your top five.
And James Kaufman also up there in the top 10. Charles Abert currently with another strong showing. He was actually our Friday night winner here as we ride along on board here. You can see that Save 22 logo on the back of that 7 car. We're on board here with Jake Ellingson. You can see that Save 22 logo on the back of the 7 car of Charles Abert. And Save 22 is one of our really awesome sponsors that we've got here. They are a 501c3 organization dedicated to preventing suicide among veterans, active duty personnel, and first responders. Our unwavering mission extends to 4 critical pillars: shield, assist, volunteer, educate, and save. And we appreciate everything they do for the veteran community and their continued support of Goat Locker.
Absolutely. Well, we're about to go green flag racing again here in these Xfinity cars. One thing I wanted to mention to you, Daniel, is out of all the cars beside the 87, this is one of my favorite cars to race on ovals. It just has the old stock car feel like we used to have back in the day. It isn't like the new generation NASCAR. This still races old. It has a little bit of freeness, at least on the regular tracks, but I know it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites as well, especially here at the super speedways. You can really just do a lot more. You get that third groove rolling with a little bit of aggressive pushing and shoving. So these guys definitely are in the right vehicle here this evening to put on a good show for us.
Well, speaking of good show, the pace car has entered pit lane as we're about to take him to the green flag again with Craig Bontrager out front, McWhorter on his outside. His teammate is down on the inside, Mark Whitley. We'll see what happens here. We're waiting for that green flag. The flag stand is nervously waiting, and we are green again. And you can see Craig Bontrager running out front's got a push right behind him there. It looks like Whitley's going to try to push him past his teammate. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, neither lane really super formed up at this point. See some drivers trying to start to drop down to the bottom. More cars in that bottom lane at the moment. See Charles Stevens in the 84, third car in lane there. But Mark Cofield, rather, giving a good push to Joseph McWhorter up on that top lane. Not going to be enough at the moment as the momentum is with that bottom side.
Yeah, and you can definitely see the bottom side is pushing a lot harder than they did at the start. Of course, Bontrager's down on the bottom. He did start on the outside. You can see out on the top lane, they're getting a little squirrely back there. It looks like that's a 07 car. Charles Albert right behind, I want to say it's Jonathan Cofield, trying to push him, but we got somebody running out front here. 74. I guess that car number is incorrectly labeled, but that's a 72 of Joseph McWhorter.
Yeah, first week might be a few discrepancies with what you see on the car versus what is on that ticker. Mark Whitley, 74 on the ticker, 74 on the car, 77 on the ticker. Joseph McWhorter, 73 on the car, 72 on the ticker.
Oh, big wreck up front. We got
that
a car
is a
sideways.
big wreck on the back straightaway. Multiple cars involved. See Noah Hogard in with that. Looks like Jonathan Cofield, I believe, maybe got a piece of that.
There's so
Saw
many cars.
Charles
It looks
Stevens around. There was a lot of cars caught up in that wreck. It started about the 5th or 6th position there, Ken, and that was what we were talking about earlier with the big one.
Yep, and this is one of the big ones. Now these guys will be able to get their cars quick repaired. There you go. You can see the 25. I think that's James Kaufman. Let's see if he gets turned here. We're winding it back. Yeah, you can see that somebody goes down and tries to shoot the middle there. James Kaufman, I don't think seen it coming. And it got turned, and then just everybody got collected behind him.
As we ride along on board here with Jonathan Cofield in that 53 car, looked like he was trying to make a move to the middle there, trying to gain some positions. Gets to the middle and just slight contact between he and the 25. 84 caught up in that as well of Charles Stevens. You could see Noah Hogard involved with that. I believe Mark Whitley was caught up in that as well. Quite a few with damage out of that incident, our second caution here of the evening.
Yeah, so these guys, like I mentioned, are going to have to come in and get those cars repaired. We are, let's see, that's just lap 7. So lap 8, we probably won't go green until about lap 9 or 10. And we're also approaching that fuel window that I was talking about. So some of these guys that weren't involved in incidents like Mark Whitley and Joseph McWhorter, Mark Cofield, those guys that are running up front, are probably thinking, hey, we might not have to pit tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting, especially for anybody that pits now. They should, in theory, be able to make it to the end, save a little bit under caution, save a little bit in the draft. You can see a few cars up near the front ducking down pit road, as well as those that got damage in that wreck.
Yeah, I see George Jewell down on pit lane. Jacob Ellingson's down on pit lane. Chance Taylor, Jesse Winnington, all down on pit lane. Just looks like about half the field headed to pit lane. So they're going to top these cars off and like you said, probably try to make it that 40 laps. They're going to be squeaking it out. And if you're running up front, if you're Mark Whitley, one of the disadvantages to running at these plate tracks, if you're the top 2 or 3 guys running up front, that clean air, so to speak, that's also very fuel consumption. A lot of fuel consumption happens when you're running up front. So sometimes it's not the best place to be. You kind of like would be back behind somebody pushing. That way you can save fuel and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. The drivers up there at the front are going to be using a little bit more fuel than those that are back in the pack, as looks like there's actually 2 cars making contact under caution here. I saw the 47 of Patrick Hagan was making contact with somebody off of pit road. Didn't quite catch everything on that, just saw the tail end of it. But yeah, even under caution, we're seeing some incidents here as we take a look back on the replay of what happened here.
Yeah, he's crossing the start finish line down there. And then it looks like, yeah, I'm not sure what, oh, there we go. So it looks like they were just trying to catch up to the rear end of the field, and somebody came down on him, just didn't realize he was there. That's almost what it looks like.
Yeah, that was the 20 of Aaron Yancey involved as well. So a bit
Yancey tows it back to the pits too after that.
Yeah, a bit of a peculiar incident here under caution. So yeah, not sure if that was just a matter of not seeing that there was a car beside you, or if there was maybe something that happened before that we missed. But yeah, that is less than ideal for what you would want to see here under caution, or really at any point.
Yeah, no. So that's going to be a lot of guys that have probably used their fast repair. So, what I tend to see is after they've used that fast repair, that a lot of these guys are going to chill out now. Hopefully get the nerves out of their system. First race of the season. Pretty packed house here tonight. So they'll get those nerves settled down, and maybe we'll get some clean racing in. But while we're going around the track here, why don't we talk about another one of our sponsors here, Jam Printing and Promotion. Since forming in 2013, Jam has contributed printing and promotional sponsorships to more than 60 local nonprofits with primary focus on organizations that assist veterans, women, and children. They have been with Goat Locker since the very beginning, locally owned and veteran certified. When they do well, they do good in the community. Jam Printing and Promotion.
Absolutely. They are the sponsor for the Pole Award across all the Goat Locker series. Definitely appreciate their support here to help us do everything we do. Taking a look at the running order here as we are 1 to green. Still Mark Whitley, Joseph McWhorter out in control of this race. In first and second, Mark Cofield, Craig Bontrager, Charles Abert, your top 5. Got Nick Reed, Chuck Pegleg Phelps, Duncan Fall, Kevin Price, and Casey Jones rounding out your top 10. So a few new players up there inside the top 10 as a result of that last incident that we had, some names that we hadn't seen up there previously.
Yeah, and those are free positions. When accidents like that happen, they're free. But it's Talladega, and you can win from the back. So you never know what's going to happen at the start of these things. Mark Whitley is always strong. We talk about him almost every time we're out here at one of these ovals. Mark Whitley and his teammate Joseph Porter on his outside. Those two guys win a lot of races here in Goat Locker, but it's Talladega, so this definitely isn't their game tonight for sure. It could be.
Yeah, definitely going to be a lot of movers, a lot of comers and goers throughout the evening here this evening. And we've already seen it with two, I don't want to say two big ones, but two early incidents to start off here in the first 10 laps of this race. But the pace car is off. Mark Whitley, Joseph McWhorter going to pace the field through the tri-oval and bring us back to the green flag.
Yeah, as they come through the tri-oval here, they're itching and itching. Two teammates side by side, about ready to lead them to the green. As we're coming around, the flagman's got the flag out, and we are back to racing. And you can see Mark Whitley gets a nice jump there, but it's Talladega. He's going to have that 97 come back up. Mark Cofield going to be able to run him down, but he was able, oh, that was a teammate move there is what that was. So was able to jump out and get his teammate behind him of Joseph McWhorter.
Yeah, I think, as you mentioned, that is a textbook teammate restart that you'll see from time to time here at Talladega. So you can have one of your friends behind you. Definitely got to have friends here to be able to make it through this race. As you can see a little farther back, some guys jockeying for position. A lot of people moving, changing lanes. We've got some drivers jumping up to the high side, trying to get some momentum and get up there to take that lead away.
Yeah, and that's what he wants to do. You see Craig Bontrager jumped up to the outside with 7 behind him. That's Charles Albert. And that, to be honest with you there, Daniel, I like that high line. That's my favorite place to run. That seems to be the fastest, but you got to have somebody that's willing to push you. We'll see if somebody can really put a move on Craig Bontrager by getting up on that rear end. You see Charles Albert there trying to get up to him, but if he can get up to him, if those 3 cars can hook up, they can get back up front.
Yeah, you are correct. And a little bit farther back in the pack, the 35 of Samuel Joseph actually blew an engine coming off of turn 4 there, saw the puff of smoke, saw him duck down pit road. Something that these drivers have to be aware of throughout the evening is not getting too aggressive with staying tucked up behind another driver. You can easily overheat that engine and end your night.
Well, if you remember, Joseph was involved with that incident there during the caution, and I think maybe he got some damage, went back out on the track, and that motor blew, and that might have been the cause. But good move for him getting off the track, as they're coming up on some lap traffic already. We'll see what this lap car does, and I think that's Aaron Yancey. Trying to figure out who that lap car is.
That is indeed Aaron Yancey, as you had mentioned. A little bit of damage, I believe, a little bit off pace.
Oh, we got a guy down on the apron
in front.
Yeah,
I think they were able to save it, though. Everybody keeps it straight. That was Chuck Phelps down there on the apron. Really nice job for him to not slide back up into traffic. Going to lose a lot of track position here, but that could
He's not going to lose a lot. He's losing it all. He's at the back of the field, so yeah, he lost it all.
Yeah, you can see even a little bit of damage there on the left rear of the 75. Like maybe somebody got into him just a little bit, but that could have been catastrophic for the field in general if he wasn't able to hang on to that.
Yeah, and he's sucking wind back there right now because he's in danger of losing the draft. But we're back up front here watching this race. Mark Whitley still leading them as we got another one shuffled back up to the front here on the outside. You can see the outside line moving here, and that's the I think that's McWhorter.
That is indeed Joseph McWhorter in the 72 car on the ticker over on the left. Another strategy that you can play here as teammates. Instead of working together, maybe you can control both lanes. As the 47 is around, that is Patrick Hagan in the back of the pack. Caution is out. I think that car is done for the evening. He is towed it back to the pits. As we take a look here on the instant replay, just a little bit of contact there with the 14 initially. It's like the 09 of Stephon Davis behind him. And just a little bit of a mistimed move there. Does everything he can to try to save it, but hits that inside wall a ton. Hits it at an odd angle too, and you can even see it there on the car. The whole rear end housing skewed after that hit.
Yeah, no, I don't know, Daniel. Was he involved with one of the earlier incidents? Did he use his quick repair?
He is indeed showing that he did use his fast repair, and he was also involved with that incident that we saw under caution as well. So not the night that he was hoping for by any stretch, and that's going to put us under caution for the third time here as we are on lap 14.
Well, as they come around turns 3 and 4 here, it's going to be interesting because now they're in their fuel window for the guys that didn't pit, but I'm thinking right now that everybody's probably going to stay out, at least the top guys, the top 10. They are not going to need to come in for fuel or tires for the rest of this race with the amount of caution that we've had so far.
Yeah, I think you are correct on that. With the cautions we've had, I believe they should be able to stretch it and save from here. So be really interesting to see if anybody does choose to come down. It actually looks like a couple of our front runners,
and I called it wrong,
and Mark Whitley, as well as a whole host of others here coming down pit road. Yeah, I don't think we could have got that one more wrong, Ken, because that that is open in the floodgates with pretty much the entire field coming down pit road here.
You know, and I thought McWhorter and Whitley were making the biggest mistake of their lives coming down pit road and everybody staying out. But with everybody coming in, you can see it's happening. It looks like no tires really for most everyone. It looks like just a fuel stop. We see somebody miss their pit lane there. And it looks like trying to figure out who won. I want to say that Whitley won the battle off pit lane. But
yeah, there were a few drivers that stayed out. So we're going to have some new names up here at the front. Some of these guys that pitted on earlier cautions. It's like Michael Jones is now going to inherit the lead with Dave Calvert in second, Brandon Wallace up in third, Tyler Rice and Scott Yancey rounding out the top 5. So Mark Whitley, the first of those that pitted, going to be in the 6th position now. So, you know, these guys, that's one thing we haven't really talked about. You know, we have mentioned that Talladega, you can make moves, you can work through the pack, but it's still not an easy order to move up if you're back in the low 20s or the 30s to try to move up to the front. These guys making a little bit of a strategy play to try to get some track position and see if they can hang on to it.
Yeah, and some of our leaders are going to have to race some new drivers now that they haven't raced before too, with these guys staying out. Although they're not that far back there with Mark Whitley being in 6th and Bontrager back there in 7th. You know, it's not like they're that far from the front, but these are new drivers that they're going to have to contend with. So, and you know that they, like Michael Jones has found himself up front along with Dave Calvert. You know, you got to imagine that these guys want to stay up front now that they've found themselves up here.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely want to try to stay up front if they can at this point. So be interesting to see how this plays out with the new names, new faces up at the front of this field.
Yeah. So have you done a bunch of plate racing before, Daniel? I know I enjoy it when you got a good group of drivers like we have here in Goat Locker Racing. It can be a total blast doing plate racing.
Yeah, I have done my fair share of plate racing. I usually end up upside down or in a hot dog stand somewhere. So, yeah, I might not be the best person to ask about strategies or, you know, how to attack this place, because it seems like usually whatever I pick is the wrong answer. But yeah, we've seen it even this week that there's been a lot of good races at Talladega. Nice track to start the season off with.
I find myself not aggressive enough. I'll run up front for a while until the pack decides to be really aggressive, and then they just run me down like I'm not even there. So I've had my experience here. It can be, well, I'm trying to describe what it's like. It's like feast or famine at these places, and I'm just looking at Michael Jones, changing the subject really quick. He's going to start with the lead, but there's some damage on the rear of that car. On the left rear quarter panel, there's looks like he's got a little bit of damage on that 02.
Yeah, he was involved in a couple of our earlier incidents. He has already used that fast repair as well. So one thing with these Xfinity cars is they can be really aero sensitive at the super speedway tracks. The rear damage doesn't seem to affect quite as much as if you get a little bit on the front end, but Michael Jones, as well as Dave Calvert, Tyler Rice, and Scott Yancey up in our top 5 have already used their fast repairs. So going to have to toe a really fine line here as far as just how aggressive you get with that lead.
Yeah, and if I'm the 99 of Brandon Wallace and I'm back there looking at Michael Jones in front of me with that damage, one of my things we were talking about restrictor plate racing, and I see a damaged car in front of me. I really can't see the whole car. I can't see if the front end is damaged, but I don't know how much I want to be pushing him. I'm probably thinking, I want to get around that 02. He's got damage, and I don't know how much he's going to hold up the bottom line. And one of the things I would be thinking.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely going to be something that these drivers will have to be aware of and have to contend with here as we get ready to go back green. Lights off on the pace car. Going to be making that hard left-hand turn onto pit road so that we can get back racing here.
Michael Jones in that Coca-Cola 02 machine is going to take him to the green flag here as they enter the tri-oval here. He's got Dave Calvert on his outside. Brandon Wallace just behind him. Brandon Wallace started all the way back in 27th. But we're going to see what happens here as they're about to take the flag and go back to green flag race. And Michael Jones out front. There's calamity going on that outside lane behind him.
Oh, they're already wrecking in the back of the pack before we even really get back to the line. See the 33 of Tyler Justice with a lot of damage. Jonathan Cofield with some damage in that as well. Brock Price caught up again. That was not pretty on the restart here. It looked like the stack up started up near the front of the pack, and that damaged quite a few race cars. Take a look on the V-Speed instant replay, looking at the 43 here on the top lane, and yeah, that started quite a few rows farther up. Like Jonathan Cofield in the 53 was one of the first ones to go around, and I think it started even up in front of him.
Well, it looks like the lead car on the outside lane just didn't get going for whatever reason, and everybody was trying to find a spot to go by or tuck up, and just they all collected each other. Yeah, you can see that outside lane. It isn't going, and you can see somebody up in that second place is trying to push him along, and then it just all stacks up behind him.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked like that started
and
with
that was Dave
Calvert up there in the 66, just not quite getting rolling on that initial start. And when, it's easy to stack up the fields anyway, but when you have somebody that is up in the front row like that doesn't get going, it just causes a huge accordion effect through the rest of the field, especially not wanting to lose any ground and lose the draft here early on.
I actually don't want to throw Dave Calvert under the bus because he was being tapped before that green flag came out, and he might have been just trying to keep from getting spun during that pace lap. So could have been Tyler Rice affected his driving, I guess you could say. But it looks like he was hanging back a little bit. He should have been up alongside that 02 car to begin with, and maybe that's why Tyler Rice was pushing. So, yeah, tough break for a lot of our top drivers actually were involved with that.
Yeah, quite a few that did get damage from that. So you see back behind the iRacing pace car, quite a few that are going to come down pit road and get some damage fixed out of that. So while we have a moment here, just want to give a shout out to another one of our sponsors that we have here with Lincoln Tech, the work that they do with Goat Locker. Lincoln Tech's mission is to provide superior education and training to our students for in-demand careers in a supportive, accessible learning environment, transforming students' lives and adding value to their communities. They're one of the largest automotive technology schools in the nation with 23 campuses, and they're the title sponsor for the fall series and a very large supporter of Goat Locker Racing. And as always, thank them for their support. what we do around here is not possible without them, as well as our other awesome sponsors that we got.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lincoln Tech. All right. Well, here we go. We are, let's see, man, I need to put some glasses on, but we are lap 19, lap 20 of a 50-lap race. So we're getting close to that halfway mark. About the time we take the green flag again, we will be halfway. I'm looking back. Joseph McWhorter seemed like he avoided that. Currently running in that orange 73, but it's 72 on the timing and scoring. But yeah, McWhorter avoided that, but his teammate Whitley, I'm trying to figure out, he's way back in the field, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like he may have gotten a piece of that incident. And just taking a look at our top 10 as they run now after another little shakeup that we had there. Michael Jones in the 0-2, still your leader. Brandon Wallace now running second. Scott Yancey up to third. All three of our top three drivers up over 20 spots from where they started this evening. Craig Bontrager in fourth, Tyler Rice in fifth. He is also up 28 spots. Charles Abert, Joseph McWhorter, Mark Cofield, Jamie Lipke, and Nick Reed rounding out your top 10 as they run under caution here.
I almost feel like, if you're one of those guys that wanted to run in the back and wait for all the incidents to happen, I think some of those guys are up front right now and thinking, well, now I'm up front. Now I'm going to have to run. And so now it's like, well, I hope I'm not involved in nothing now. So I think holding back in tonight's race might have been a mistake for some of the drivers. And then some of the drivers that have found themselves up front using that strategy might be a little early for them.
Yeah, well, even still, it's kind of a mixed bag because you've got the guys like Michael Jones, Brandon Wallace, Scott Yancey that were hanging out near the back that are now up there near the front. But even Michael Jones was caught up in that lap one incident with riding in the back. Craig Bontrager been up near the front for most of the evening. So, this just kind of goes to what we talk about a lot with super speedway racing, that you just never quite know what's going to be the right strategy. And even just looking at our top 10, it doesn't seem like there is a right strategy. It's about 50-50 between guys that were at the back earlier and guys that have been up near the front the entire night.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier. You really can't predict these races and how they're going to go. And every time you do, at least for me and you, it sounds like we get it wrong. We roll the dice the wrong way. So some of these guys are going to roll the dice the right way. We're going to close it out here in another 30 laps or so. We're going to figure out who rolled it the right way. But right now we got about 29, 30 laps to go. And we'll see who's got the power here at Talladega. With Michael Jones is going to lead him to the green flag with Brandon Wallace on the outside. So we got a new starter there on the outside. Hopefully he'll get going and not stack up that outside lane, and we get a good clean start here.
Yeah, Brandon Wallace in that 99 has done a nice job working his way up to the front, using a little bit of pitch strategy, something that we're used to seeing out of him in any of these series that he's in. He's always trying to think 2 steps ahead on that pitch strategy, and so far tonight it has worked out for him with that track position. See if he can maintain that once we get back under green here.
Scotty Yancey back there in that third position is going to need to do some pushing on Michael Jones, see if they can hold that bottom line. But you're right. I think what you're talking about, Brandon Wallace, he's played the strategies on the outside, leading right now on the outside line. It's kind of the place I want to be. Is pace car ducks onto pit lane. We're about to go green flag racing once again.
Yep, and you mentioned it side by side. Michael Jones, the control car, Brandon Wallace on the outside, Scott Yancey, Craig Bontrager in that second row into the restart zone. Barney's got the green flag in the air. We are back underway here at Talladega.
There we go. Got the 49 push in. Brandon Wallace, that's the 49 of Craig Bontrager pushing that outside lane. Michael Jones didn't get any pushing help there, and that's causing him to lose that position right now, that 99 on the outside, although that 49 lost grip with the 99. That allowed Michael Jones to get back down there on the bottom and keep the lead for now.
Yeah, bottom lane starting to get formed up a little bit better there. They were broken apart just a bit on that initial start. Momentum with the top side, though. Brandon Wallace is clear to the lead. He is going to stay up on that top side with help from Craig Bontrager. As of right now, Charles Abert, that third car in line, our Friday night Truck Series winner here at Talladega. Can't count him out of it. Going to have something to say before this is all said and done.
Yeah, that outside lane right now is looking stronger than the inside. It looks like they're better formed up. Charles Abert back there. It gets a little bit on the outside there. maybe to keep that car cool, but that outside lane is looking good. But it looks like the inside lane's starting to stabilize a little bit. But right now, those top 3 cars are starting to open up a little bit of a gap.
Oh, and that looked like a big wiggle there from the 0-2 of Michael Jones as they got down into the turn. Thought he was going to lose it for just a second. Able to hang on to it, still leading that inside lane. You can see these cars bobbing and weaving all over the place. Just 2 formed lanes right now, but they're trying to get a third groove going. They're moving all over the place here. They are trying to make some moves, get some track position as that third lane up there on the high side. That's the 14 of Chance Taylor trying to get that lane start.
Yeah, well, I watched Brandon Wallace and Craig Bontrager drop down and leave Charles Abert out to dry, so to speak, and they're taking command of that inside lane, and that put Michael Jones back in that 3rd spot with that damaged car. And I wondered with him wiggling around as Charles Abert is making a run for that top spot on the outside lane. You can see him in that yellow and black number 7 car getting a good push, trying to get him up front right now.
Yeah, Mark Cofield doing a really nice job giving some good pushes to that 7 of Charles Abert. Showed his prowess on the super speedways. He is even with Brandon Wallace as they go down the back straightaway. Cofield needing to back off just a little bit there just to get some air to it. They got Brett Bieber. That's a big move from the 97, but he's able to hang on to it. That had the potential to be big, but Mark Cofield with a big save there in the middle of 3 and 4.
Yeah, he did a great job hanging on to that car. Right now, that bottom line is about a 4-car lane before you get back to Charles Abert down on the outside there. But got 4 cars there. Brandon Wallace, Craig Bontrager, Michael Jones, Scotty Yancey, all down on the inside. We got a wreck.
97's around. That's going to bring out another caution as this is one of the big ones, the 97, Mark Cofield. You can see, looked like Mark Whitley is involved in that. Tried to see some of the others. Tyler Justice, it looks like, got a piece of that as well. I believe Chuck Phelps got a part of it. Jake Ellingson, quite a few. Duncan Fall was also involved in that, as was the 14 of Chance Taylor. Going to have to cue this one up on that V-Speed instant replay to take a look at what happened here. Kind of felt like something was building. These guys were getting a little wild, a little aggressive with their pushes. Just contact between Brett Bieber and Mark Cofield. And that is all she wrote for about 10 different cars there. I don't know how Jake Ellingson missed that wreck. I don't believe he actually hit anything in that. That might have been a birthday gift right there if he got through that thing with no damage as we ride on board with the 27. And Ken, I think we're about to have one heck of a view for this.
Yeah, I'm kind of anxious to see this one. I'm nervous at the same time, but you can see there were 3 wide. He's coming up on it, and you can see everybody start to check up there because they know it's getting kind of ugly as we ride along here with Jacob. You can see we go into turn 1 here, and this is about where the end there. You can see the smoke, so he's backing up right now. And you can see there's Days of Thunder. Just stay in the throttle, try to find the gap.
Gosh.
Oh my God! Almost gets into it with the 33. That was some impressive driving.
Oh, and then he almost hit the 75. Chuck holding his brakes, not doing anything wrong there, but Jake, it looks like, got through that completely unscathed. I don't see any damage on that 27 car. You want to talk about wreck avoidance 101 right there. That was a masterful job out of the 27 to get through that. As we take one more look at this, I am just honestly in awe of him getting through that. You can see almost gets into Tyler Justice, almost gets into Mark Whitley, Chuck Phelps, but able to keep it in one piece. And I'm going to tell you what, Jake, shout out for that. Hats off. That was absolutely amazing wreck avoidance.
He kept that American flag unsoiled. So great job to him. Anyway, we're going to take a commercial break and we'll come back to the action here momentarily.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. Invets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. Invets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about Invets, visit us at invets.org today.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. We're back live here at Talladega in the Goat Locker Xfinity series brought to you by Invets. And right now, Brandon Wallace is sitting here. We're watching him on the backstretch. He's currently leading the field down on the inside in that 99 High Rock car. On his outside, he'll have Craig Bontrager starting on the outside with Michael Jones. Down on the inside, just behind Brandon Wallace, with Scotty Yancey starting in fourth. And Charles Abert will round out your top five.
Yeah, really solid nights for them. Also got Tyler Rice, Joseph McOrder, Nick Reed, Stephen Davis, and Jacob Ellingson running in your top 10 right now. Jake Ellingson, as we mentioned before we went to that break, with one of the wreck avoids of the century. One of the best ones I've ever seen on iRacing. So shout out to him. He's got some track position as a result. Pace car getting ready to make that hard left on to pit road. We're going to get back underway here just past halfway at Talladega.
And like I said, Brandon Wallace in that 99 car, he started back in 27th, currently on the lead, getting ready to take the green flag once again. We'll have 23 laps to go when they take the green, which the flag man is standing there waiting. There it goes, and we are green. Brandon Wallace leads them to the start-finish line.
And Brandon Wallace with a big jump there. Not necessarily what you want when you're the leader here at Talladega.
Oh.
Craig Bontrager is able to squeeze down on that inside line in front of Michael Jones in that 0-2. Slots in behind Brandon Wallace. That was a little bit close, I believe, between them, but able to make it work. Bontrager now giving a shove to that 99 car as we head down the back straightaway.
Yeah, speaking of shoves, though, the 7 of Charles Abert was pushing Michael Jones, and they got a little squirrely. Charles Abert now finds himself in the center of the pack here as we're watching some pushing going down between the top two guys. That's Craig Bontrager you're looking at right now, who's currently pushing Brandon Wallace up front with Michael Jones right behind him. Oh, Charles Abert.
Charles Abert in the wall. Big damage, and the caution is out yet again. That is the one of Zach Tucker that was involved in that as well. Friday night's winner, though, Charles Abert with big damage out of that. It's like the 0-3 of Scotty Yancey also got a big part of that as well. Gonna check this out on the V-Speed instant replay. The 27 of Jake Ellingson trying to split the middle, but doesn't look like that was necessarily where the wreck started. Oh, Ellingson got a big piece of that as well. You can see the hood flying off of that car. Debris everywhere after that wreck. And just after we talked about the birthday gift for the 27, disaster strikes on the very next restart through turns 3 and 4. Taking another look here, see the 0-3 up on the high line. Jake Ellingson gets a big run. 0-3 just a little late making that move. Shoots the 0-3 into Charles Abert, into Joseph McWhorter, and Kyle Deering with a big wreck avoid in the 50. Man, he did a whale of a job missing that through the tri-over.
Yeah, well, there's going to be a lot of torn up race cars now. This is going to really shrink down the field because a lot of these guys use their fast repairs. So we ride along with Jacob Ellingson, see what happens here is looking for the spot, tries to fill that hole, can't get it done. A little bump there, a little damage, and that sets that chain reaction off. And there you can see them all get wound up there as that 27 car, which we talked so much about during the last caution. He couldn't avoid it this time.
Yeah, Jake Ellingson definitely had a full head of steam coming through there, had a big run. You know, whenever you're talking about Talladega, if you're going to make lane changes or make moves, they need to be quick, they need to be decisive. And the 0-3 just drifting down a little bit there wasn't quite either one of those, and that was really where the damage started, where the calamity started there.
Yeah. Well, while we got another caution here, why don't we talk about our title sponsor of the series, Invets. Invets aids in transitioning to civilian life, focusing on job placement and finding the right community for our veterans and their families to ensure their success and happiness. They are a veteran nonprofit in Indiana with the goal of bringing veterans to that state to live and work. They are the title sponsor of this Sunday night Xfinity series, so we're glad to have them on board, and we look forward to working with them all season, actually, there, Daniel.
Yeah, definitely appreciate them coming on board. And I know we don't necessarily have a specific little pitch here for them, but I also want to give a quick shout out to MK Fire Designs, another one of our sponsors here for Goat Locker, actually a new one that has come on board for this season. And with them coming on board, we're actually able to broadcast a series that you worked on last night, Ken, with the GT3 cars.
Yeah, the GT3 series, we finally got that series with the sponsor, MK and Zach Graphics. They came on board to help us show off that GT3 series on Saturday nights. It's an absolute blast. It's been an honor to actually do that. And we looked at the 27 car, speaking of that American flag on that 27 car, Jake Ellingson. They do flags like that and stuff like wood carvings and things like that. So check them out. But yeah, it's great having them on board. And it's also a lot of fun racing on Saturday nights. So, Goat Locker races 7 days a week. Saturday nights we do GT3 series, sports car series. And then, every night of the week we got something going on, right, Daniel?
We do indeed have something going on every night of the week. And that's one of the really cool things with Goat Locker. We've got a lot of big fields, a lot of racing that's going on. The only series that we have that is not broadcasted is actually our Thursday night late models. But 6 nights a week, we've got action here on V-Speed that we get to bring to you. And all of it going to support a great cause with everything that Pat and Jamie and all of our sponsors do to support veterans here.
Yeah, we run the Next Gen series. And then you, of course, run the Indy. Well, you broadcast the Indy series here on Goat Locker on Tuesday nights. Isn't that correct?
I did the Indy series over the summer, but not on that one for the fall series. That is Jake Reeves and Logan Threlkeld is on that one. 2 other fantastic broadcasters we've got here that get to have all the fun with the open wheel stuff.
Yeah, our Premier Series is the Next Gen cars. I believe that runs on Monday nights. And then Friday nights, we have the Premier Truck Series. So those are Premier Series that Goat Locker has that you have to compete to be in. And then the other series, you can show up, you can sign up for Goat Locker, and you can race those other series, let everybody know that you're safe and everything. And then you can apply for those Premier Series, which also makes those series a little more extra special.
Yeah, absolutely. On those Wednesday and Friday Premier Series, definitely a lot of fun calling those. But back to the action here at Talladega. We are on lap 31 of 50. This is the one to go back green, I should say. Field lined up, double file behind the pace car. Your front row is not changed. Brandon Wallace and Craig Bontrager are going to be in control here.
Yeah, and then behind them, you got Michael Jones, Joseph McWhorter, Stephen Davis, Nick Reed, Tyler Rice, Jesse Whittington, and then I get back to Mark Whitley, who's in 9th. And the reason I bring Mark Whitley up, he was running up front at the start of this race. Finds himself now back in 9th, but he was involved in a couple of those incidents, moved back towards the back of the field, but he's slowly working his way back up front here. So he isn't out of this race by any means just yet.
Absolutely not out of it. Back up there in the top 10. Pace car once again pulling off here at Talladega as we work through the tri-oval. Back to that restart zone. Brandon Wallace in that 99 looking to maintain control as we go back green here. Field is in the restart zone. Green flag in the air. Brandon Wallace with another good jump. Drivers can't change lanes until they get across the start-finish line, but as we get across, you see that 49 yet again. Craig Bontrager jumping down to that bottom groove, trying to get behind that 99 to get a push.
Yeah, you see McWhorter on the outside there in that orange and white car. McWhorter on the outside with Michael Jones down on the inside. Michael Jones gave our leader, Brandon Wallace, quite a shove at the very start, right as they took the green flag. That allowed Brandon Wallace to just jump up there and allowed Bontrager to get right behind him.
Yeah, as you can see, a car is off track near the middle of the pack there. Didn't quite catch who that was. I think that's the 18 of Colton Sisk, as you can see on the screen there. Really nice job by Colton to hang on to that car. That could have been huge, but we are still under green, and the action is picking up here at the front of the field. Joseph McWhorter leading that top line with a push from Stephen Davis in the 09. Mark Whitley, that third car in lane, in the top lane rather. They are starting to try to make some moves here as we get down near the end of this race.
Yeah, you can see McWhorter down in there on the outside of the 49 car. I thought they were going to get a run as you were talking, and I thought McWhorter was going to say, well, I got something to say about Brandon Wallace leading. As they come down the backstretch here, he does have a run. He's getting a nice push there from the 09 as Stephen Davis, seeing if he could push him to the front there. He's got a little bit nose on him as they go into 3 and 4 here.
Yeah, and as you can see the 09 dropping back just a little bit there. Not sure if he maybe needed to cool that car off a little or what maybe happened there, but top groove starting to space out just a little bit. But even on that bottom groove, as you can see, they are 3 wide now. That is Mark Whitley moving to the inside of Stephen Davis. He is going to get behind his teammate, Joseph McWhorter. Got to think that was a planned move to try to work with your teammate and get up there to take control back of this race.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was the plan all along, try to get back up front here. Is you can see McWhorter trying to make something happen there on the outside, being pushed by Mark Whitley. And now that these two guys are hooked up, it looks like they're going to get their way up front. You've got the 59 falling in behind them. 59 might actually add to that, or the 89, I should say, add to that fight. That's Nick Reed.
Yeah, that is forming up on the top lane. You also got Jesse Whittington, that 4th car in line, and that actually is the 59 up there behind them. Frederick Seagraves, he's trying to throw his hat into the ring here. That top groove just seems like they need just a few more numbers to be able to get fully clear. Let's take a look on board here with Mark Whitley, looking at the back bumper of his teammate, Joseph McWhorter. Riding on board here inside the top 5, really close as Joseph McWhorter goes down, tries to side draft just a little bit through the turn, but the momentum with the bottom groove as they go through 1 and 2.
Yeah, that bottom line is formed up a little bit better than the top line right now. And while the two teammates are nose to tail, you know, you got to think that Whitley's got to say, well, I'm going to have to cool down this engine eventually. I need the guy behind me to start pushing. So he's looking probably for that 59 to start pushing. That Frederick Seagraves in that Air Force, looks like burgundy machine there in that 59 car. Get him up there and help him push this outside line up front.
Yeah, one thing that I'm seeing here as we watch these cars go through in the pack 2 by 2, they do not look all that stable. There's a lot of guys that are moving around, kind of, I don't want to say swerving because they're really not swerving, but as you can see, the 99, the 49 making contact. They're able to hang on to it. I don't know how they did not wad up the entire field there. 0-2 of Michael Jones cutting the 49 of Craig Bontrager a break and letting it back up on the track. That was almost disaster for this field up near the front of it.
Almost is the key word there. We're looking at Seagrave, though. Seagraves, making a dash for the lead down on the bottom. Is a couple cars get a little squirrely there going to the outside line, but Seagraves is now in the lead and see if he crosses the start-finish line and gets credit for this lap led.
Yeah, that looked like it was door banging between teammates of McWhorter and Whitley there. As you see Brandon Wallace, Jesse Whittington on that third row. The top lane, though, is starting to form up. You can see 3 cars up there. You've got the 09 of Stephon Davis. Looks like that is Jonathan Cofield behind in the 53, trying to get up there as well. And actually, I'm sorry, that is the 50 of Kyle Deering that is leading that line, running a similar scheme to Davis, but Davis is right there behind. So they are trying to make that third groove work as Jesse Whittington moves up to the third lane. Business is picking up here at Talladega.
3 wide at Talladega. We expected it to happen, and actually they're racing cleaner 3 wide than they were 2 wide. And Seagraves looks like he's going to need another lap here as they cross the start-finish line. Seagraves up front. We haven't talked about him all night. Got McWhorter right behind him, pushing him along. Teammate down there on the outside. So these guys are separated now. So they're going to have to work with other people, other drivers at the moment.
Yeah, that third lane started to fall apart there. You can see we are back to 2 by 2. Mark Whitley heading up that outside lane. Mark Cofield in the 97, the second car in that top groove. You've got Brett Bieber. You've got Jesse Whittington, Jonathan Cofield, a lot of big hitters, super speedway guys. They are starting to shuffle up front here. As you can see, McWhorter to the lead up on that top groove with help from his teammate, and then you've got Brandon Wallace on the bottom pushing Frederick Seagraves now as we get down close to 10 to go here.
Yeah, that was a result of those two teammates, McWhorter and Whitley, wanting to get back together and almost shuffled the field up as it made a pretty brazen move to get hooked back up together. And that Seagraves still out front, but he isn't going to lead this lap. Going to have to give that one to McWhorter and with his teammate just behind him.
Yeah, and the big thing that I'm seeing right now is it seems like those top 2 lanes just can't get sorted out to find a lane to commit to. Every time that top groove starts to get rolling, that third lane, seems like some guys start to move and shuffle around and all that momentum falls apart. Certainly not for lack of effort, though. Jesse Whittington leading that third groove up on the top lane. Never mind, make that Brett Bieber now in the 808 up there with Jonathan Cofield also moving up. He's trying to make some moves. Cofield back to the middle here. To take a look on board with Jesse Whittington, one of our drivers that does have his cam set up here this evening. You can see that is a look of focus and determination right there from the 94. Just trying to figure out, how do I get up there to the front of this field?
It's all about holding your tongue just right as we're on board with Jesse Whittington. Watching him go 3 wide up front here, and you can see he's on the high line, and that's where, like I said, you're holding your tongue just right, and hopefully nobody gets a little shaky while you're up here in this 3 wide situation as they go back down the backstretch here.
Yeah, and I like the move. You got to try to make something happen. We are getting down to 10 to go here in this race. You can't wait until the end if you're back there outside the top 10 to try to make something happen. One of the guys that has made something happen is Jonathan Cofield with help from his old man, Mark Cofield, up there on the high side. They are leading that top groove, trying to take the Dale Jr. line around here, trying to get themselves up here to the front.
Yeah, it's getting a bit feisty up front here. 3 wide for the lead right now. You got Seagraves down on the bottom, McWhorter in the middle, and Caulfield on the outside here as they go 3 wide past the start-finish line. And you see McWhorter led that lap, but Seagraves is doing his best trying to, we got some action behind, and we're having an accident right now.
We've got cars around in the back of the field. Caution 34. Is now out after it looks like that was James Kaufman went around. 34, Casey Jones also involved in that. Just as the action was starting to pick up here, we had 3 wide, about 5 rows deep. Gonna pull it up on the V-Speed Instant Replay and take another look here. As we go through 1 and 2, that looked like quite a bit of net code between the 34 and the 50 of Kyle Deering there. The 80 of Price also catches a piece of it. That was some really bad net code there, honestly, between those 2 drivers. Can't fault either of them for that one. So slow it down a little bit here from the blimp cam. The 34 is starting to drift up just a little bit, but you can see there is plenty of room between those 2 when the 50 car starts to turn. So really unfortunate there that netcode is going to be the reason for that caution.
And, these guys are close racing, and netcode does happen when you're 3 and 4 wide, especially at a track like Talladega. These cars are going so fast.
Oh, yeah, you can see
it does happen. You could definitely see it there.
Yeah, that is huge net code. still a good foot or so in between those two drivers, probably more than that. And my depth perception is just horrible. But yeah, that is really unfortunate because, man, business was picking up at the front, as you can
It was
see on that
getting
replay.
excited. It was super excited. Well, you know what? Now we're going to have something even more exciting. We're about to have a shootout. We're about to have. We'll take the green flag with about 5 to go, and these guys, man, that was quite a show. I thought, man, if they could keep it green that whole time, we were going to be in for a treat. But I think with this shootout, we're still going to be a subject to the same thing.
Well, one thing about it, it is going to get wild here in the closing laps at Talladega, possibly even wilder than what we've already seen with some new names up there in the top 5, top 10. Quick rundown of our running order. You got Frederick Seagraves is going to be scored as your leader currently with Jonathan Cofield, Joseph McWhorter, Brandon Wallace, and Mark Cofield in your top 5. The rest of your top 10, Mark Whitley, Craig Bontrager, Brett Bieber, Michael Jones, and Stefan Davis, and doing a good job working their way up here in the late stages. And Ken, something that we had touched on a few times throughout the evening is just some of the work that Goat Locker does with veterans. Goat Locker being a nonprofit, 501c3 nonprofit, one of the really cool things that they do here is they do sim rig giveaways where they take, there's veterans.
You read my mind, Daniel. You read my mind.
Yes, sir. They give away full sim rigs, basically a turnkey setup to veterans, and just recently gave away their 11th sim rig to Hamza Khan, the most recent recipient of that.
Absolutely. Here's our latest Warrior Spotlight and our most recent sim rig recipient, Hamza Khan. Served in the U.S. Air Force for 6 years as a ground radio tech. He deployed to Afghanistan in support of Operation Enduring Freedom and was stationed in the Mountain Home Air Force Base, Idaho. Oh, Mountain Home Air Force Base, Idaho, and Osan Air Force Base, Korea. We are proud to have him here at Goat Locker Racing. Yeah, congratulations there, Hamza Khan. We're glad to have you part of Goat Locker, and what a great way to race here in Goat Locker with the sim rig giveaway.
Yeah, for sure. That is definitely one of the coolest things about being a part of Goat Locker here is not only do they say that they are for veterans, that they want to provide support and want to provide, you know, just a nice community here for veterans to talk and be a part of something more than just racing, but they put action to it as well with those sim rig giveaways. Got to race against a bunch of those guys, and just a really cool thing that Goat Locker does for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a very similar rig, sim rig that what Goat Locker gives away, and it is a quality sim rig. You know, and the fact that we're giving it away to our veterans, a lot of them are disabled, a lot of them, you know, seen combat. We have a lot of veterans in this league that are out here racing. As a matter of fact, we got veterans sitting right here. What about you there, Daniel?
No military service on my part, but come from a military family. Both of my grandfathers served in the Army, so a lot of other military with just like great uncles that served. So a long-standing tradition. Also do have some first responders in the family as well, which I know Goat Locker does a lot to support them as well. So something really cool with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're always welcome to have you too. So it's absolutely an honor to have these guys racing with us. I don't know what the percentage of veterans in Goat Locker is, but I think it's leans heavily, at least 50% are probably veterans.
Yeah, I believe you are correct on that. And field formed up 2 by 2 here. Looked like we actually had the 1 to green, but they have extended this caution by an extra lap. So be just a few moments before we do get back to the action here. But yeah, you are correct, Ken. There are quite a few veterans that are in this league. You know, a lot of guys that have come in via the sim rig giveaways, and I know Pat has set up sim rigs at some shows. He's actually going to be at the Sim Expo in Chicago this weekend, I believe, with the sim rigs. So something cool. If you're out in that area, you can come by and see the head honcho, the boss man himself, and check out what they've got set up out there.
You know, something I haven't been paying too much attention tonight because it's Talladega. I haven't been paying attention too much to the YouTube chat, and I try to do that. But Ray Ellington says, "Hi, Nathan," and There's a lot of people in the chat. I'm seeing can Daniel even spell imperative? I can't even say it. So good luck to him spelling it. So there's some shenanigans going on in chat. Just going through it here. Eddie's getting a shout out here. So we're about to go 1 to green here, and let's see who else we got here. Brock Price. Brock Price out. I'm not sure. Brock Price was in an early incident. I believe he is out. He ended up in a couple incidents. So, yeah, I want to thank everybody there out there in YouTube chat and everybody that's watching the race. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any action here at Goat Locker and V-Speed. We always appreciate everybody watching, and hopefully the drivers aren't watching until after the race, because I think that's where the commentator's curse comes from.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because Brandon Wallace, that's up there running in 4th right now, just commented in the YouTube chat, "We gonna die." So let's hope that the 99 is a little off on that prediction, and we can go green to the end here to get one whale of a finish for this race. But it kind of made me chuckle there. No sooner than you mentioned, I hope they're not watching while they're driving, Brandon's gonna throw a comment in the YouTube chat. So not only is he watching while driving, he's also texting while driving as we pull up the camera. We pull it up right when Brandon's supposed to do. We pull it up right when Brandon's got his phone out texting. So probably commenting in the chat again. So yeah, we give him a hard time, but thanks for interacting with us there, Brandon.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's out there on the outside lane right now. So, if something happens below him, he could very well be caught up in this. This probably is going to be crazy. We're going to have 5 to go. Like I said, we're going to have a big old-fashioned shootout here when we take the green flag. Frederick Seagraves got his way up front here about 10 laps ago and has stayed up front. Jonathan Cofield on his outside will start in second. Joseph McWhorter will be down there on the inside in that orange and white machine. And then Brandon Wallace, which we just talked to, out there on the outside. And then rounded out, your top 5 will be the 97. Mark Cofield finds himself up in the top 5.
Yeah, and the one big thing I'm looking at here, Mark Whitley and Joseph McWhorter, the teammates, been working so well together all evening. As we get down here to 5 to go, they're going to be in different lanes on this restart. So going to be difficult to get together, see if they can pull it off. Pace car is off, though. Seagraves in control of this field, working through the tri-oval. Barney's got that green flag back in hand, and we are going to be going back racing here at Talladega for a 5-lap shootout to the finish.
And let that shootout begin. Seagraves tries to get going. You can see McWhorter trying to give him a push, couldn't do it, but you got Cofield on the outside with not a whole lot of help right now. Brandon Wallace coming up quick, getting up on the rear of that machine, trying to push Cofield up front with McWhorter right behind him.
Yeah, we've seen it a few times here this evening. It seems like it just takes a little bit for that outside lane to get rolling. But once it does, if they stay committed to each other, they're able to get some momentum. As you can see, the 0-2 starting to wiggle around. Michael Jones able to keep it straight. That top groove starting to form up here. You've got Craig Bontrager. Jesse Whittington has latched on to the back of this group. You've also got Brett Bieber, the 5th car in line, down there on the bottom. They are starting to find their dance partners here as we get down to the home stretch of this race. Mark Whitley looking to take it 3 wide inside of Brandon Wallace. Not quite able to get there. But for now, that top groove starting to get a couple of cars and starting to try to make some momentum.
Yeah, Brandon Wallace got a little squirrely, and I think Whitley said, I see an opening there, but wisely backed out of it. Somebody gets shuffled to the outside. I believe that was Craig Bontrager up there all alone up in that 3rd line. Oh, we got a car on the inside infield. They're still wrecking.
Oh, they are still wrecking. That is the 97 of Mark Cofield. Looked like, I see the 09 was involved in that as well, but big damage from Mark Cofield. That car looks like it is just about toasted here this evening. And that was also the 09 of Stephon Davis was involved in that as well. A lot going on there and not a lot of time here, Ken. As you can see, they were 3 wide. You had mentioned the 49 of Bontrager getting hung out to dry a little bit there. You can see just Mark Cofield gets turned by the 0-2. Oh, hard into that inside wall. Shoots back up the track as his hood is continuing to bounce down the back straightaway behind him. Just huge damage there.
I remember Jeff Gordon back in the day taking a hit like that against the inside wall, just right where that where the emergency crews come out. That car is probably toast. And you can see right there. These cars have been squirrely. You can see everybody else.
Oh, the second
This,
I didn't even see that one at first. Tyler Rice, Michael Jones, Stephen Davis involved in that. Man, I didn't even catch that to start with. That was way bigger than the initial wreck. Let's take one more look at this. The 02 tried to get back up on the track and just doors the 808 of Brett Bieber. And I shouldn't laugh, but Tyler Rice just coming in afterwards after he had contact just hard into the 02. Going to be big damage on both of those vehicles.
well, Wallace called it. He said it was going to be a little bit nuts here to restart that shootout. But you know what? We got a green-white checker that we're going to have to do. As we ride on board with Tyler Rice, see what his vantage point. As you can see those cars dancing around there, you see Michael Jones down there. The 2 just gets up there trying to get back on the track, gets into Brett Bieber, the 808, and then you see Tyler Rice gets another hit on Michael Jones.
Yeah, and Tyler Rice had the right idea. He saw all of that starting up there and was checking up before the 02 even came back up onto the track. He got hit from behind, which shot him down into Michael Jones in that 02 car. And yeah, it was just pretty much on from there. And you mentioned it. We've got 2 attempts at a green-white checker finish here this evening. I believe this is going to put us, if not a natural green-white checker, this is going to put us in that window for our first of 2 green-white checker attempts.
And, you know, the thing about these Xfinity cars, they take a while to get up to song. They almost take a lap and a half, 2 laps. It isn't like some of the other cars, but you can get them up to speed within a lap. But these cars take a while to get going. And I think what we're seeing here is as these cars are getting going and everybody's running at a different speed, just little taps and stuff, these Xfinity cars get a little squirrely and unstable. And I think that's what we're seeing. And that's why we're seeing a lot of these cautions, because you can kind of see it. It looks like there's a lot of action. Everybody's clean and stable. And as soon as somebody touches somebody and it starts getting out of shape, everybody just starts a chain reaction. And we end up with calamity.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's a little bit different than what my prior experience has been in these Xfinity cars at super speedways. Granted, it has been a little while since I've actually run these at a super speedway. But before, it seemed like you could really get aggressive with the pushes. Not quite as aggressive as the next gen, but with the way the bumpers line up, you could really just get up behind someone and almost do like the old school 2-car tandem. But I'm not sure if maybe it's the track conditions with the track temp, just a little bit less grip that we've got out there this evening, or what it could be. These cars definitely look a little more unstable than what we're used to seeing.
Yeah, and like I said, the Xfinity cars, that's what makes them great at certain places too. But when you're on the plate tracks, perhaps you need to use a little bit more caution. But I think they're going to throw caution out the window at this point, because green-white checker to go. We got Jonathan Cofield is going to lead him to the green flag this time, but you got Seagraves, who's been pretty strong the last part of this last quarter of this race, in fact. So Seagraves wants this, and you always got Brandon Wallace sitting back there in third, who has been kind of quiet. He got a little squirrely on that last run, but he managed to hang on to third. McWhorter back there in fourth, and his teammate in fifth. Well, that's your top 5 for now.
And taking a look at the rest of the top 10, you've got Jesse Whittington in 6th, Brett Bieber in 7th, Craig Bontrager 8th, Chance Taylor 9th, and Nick Reed in 10th. And as I mentioned on that previous restart, McWhorter and Whitley in 2 separate lanes here. They're going to want to try to get linked up and work together. Just not quite sure on a green-white checker finish if it's going to be enough time to make that work, or if you might have to go every man for himself here. This is, in fact, going to be an overtime green-white checker finish past the scheduled race distance. So we've got 2 tries at it. And just in case you're not familiar with how the green-white checker works, we've got 2 tries at it. If there is a caution before we take the white flag, we'll rack them up, try them again. If we get a white flag, if we get back around to the white flag, that's it. We are racing back under green. There won't be a last lap caution. We're racing back to the win. If everybody ends up upside down in the middle of the back straightaway, we're still not throwing the caution flag. We're coming back to the checkered at that point.
Yeah, but my bet, if I was a gambling man, I think I would bet on another green-white checkered. I hope not, but these guys have been pushing these cars hard with Cofield out front, Seagraves down on the inside. we'll see what these guys got. I imagine it's going to be 3 and 4 wide. This is when the pay window opens, and everybody's going to be going for it. I think the two teammates that you mentioned early, Whitley and McWhorter, I think it's every man for themselves. I've talked to them before in post-race interviews, and once we get down to this, it's every man for themselves.
Well, definitely going to be something to keep an eye on. You've also got Jonathan Cofield and Brandon Wallace, teammates on that bottom lane. Brett Bieber, the fourth car in the bottom lane, going to be a teammate as well. So a few of the Bandits Motorsports drivers lined up down there. Pace car is off. We've got them lined up 2 by 2. Jonathan Cofield, Frederick Seagraves on the front row. This is getting ready to get wild, Ken.
Yeah, absolutely. We're waiting for the flagmen to drop that flag so we can take them for the last couple of laps here. Hopefully one last green flag is out. Jonathan Cofield gets the run out. Brandon Wallace right behind him on the outside there. You can see that I don't even know what I'm talking about. Seagraves is falling behind there a little bit on the outside lane.
Yeah, Seagraves starting to fall back just a little bit. Neither lane really formed up all that well. Looked like Mark Whitley was maybe trying to leave a little bit of a gap for Joseph McWhorter to drop down in front on the bottom. Not quite able to get linked up. As all you can see,
Brandon Wallace,
they're around on the back straightaway. Joseph McWhorter, Brandon Wallace, and I believe it looked like it was Brett Bieber hard into the inside wall. Mark Whitley involved as well. And you called it, Ken. We're going to need both of these attempts. You see the 75 of Chuck Pegleg felt smoking, no hood on that car. Big damage for him as well. This is going to lead to a second attempt at green-white checker as we take a look here. Whitley tried to go 3 wide. Brandon Wallace there on the bottom. Contact between the two and just not quite enough room to make that work through there. You see Wallace was trying to push the 53 at Cofield. He did get down just a little bit, but yeah, that was the 808 of Brett Bieber also caught up in that hard into the inside wall. I don't know who that was that cold trickled their way through there. I think that looked like the 09 car of Stefan Davis that got through it. Take another look here. Actually riding on board with the 02 of Michael Jones. He's caught up in that previous caution. You can see cars up in the air. See, oh my God, see the 99 of Brandon Wallace coming right across in front of him. A really nice job of avoiding that wreck for Michael Jones there.
Yeah, so almost a similar incident. What happened a few laps ago, you see McWhorter tried, or I think it was Whitley, who tried to take it 3 wide, but thought better of it. But, we only had 2 laps to go at that point. And that, Brandon Wallace gets down on that double yellow line. He probably thought he could get that spotter called out and let him know, Brandon Wallace, that he was on the outside, and Brandon Wallace was just coming a little bit back on the track and got into him and caused that whole incident. So tough break for those guys. It's going to send those guys towards the back. McWhorter, Whitley, a lot of those guys. Michael Jones was a beneficiary of that, able to stay up, but he's still going to have some work to do to get up front. He's sitting there back in about 15th right now, so still some work to do, but Frederick Seagraves finds himself back up front with Jonathan Cofield right behind him.
Yeah, just to do a quick rundown here, because that did take some of our leaders out of contention there with that last wreck. Got some new names up there in the top 5 and top 10. As you mentioned, Frederick Seagraves, Jonathan Cofield, still first and second. Chance Taylor, first time we've really seen him up here near the front of the field tonight. He's going to be in third. Craig Bontrager in fourth. Nick Reed rounding out your top 5 with Kyle Deering, Aaron Yancey, Ricky Sisk Jr., Zachary Tucker, and back from the dead, Charles Abert. After that big damage we saw earlier, he has worked his way back up into the top 10. Shout out to him on one heck of a recovery drive so far.
Yeah, that fifth on back, there's a lot of drivers up here we haven't really talked about. You mentioned Kyle Deering. Great job getting up there. He started in 28th along with Aaron Yancey back there. Started in 30th. He's currently running 7th. It's just amazing. Some of these guys, Ricky Sisk started in 35th, 34th. So some of these guys that started way back in the field find themselves up front now, and they're probably really hungry for this win. And they're only going to have a couple laps to get it done. This will be our last green-white checker, I believe. So no matter what happens at this point, we're going to finish this race out.
Yeah, you are absolutely correct. And as you mentioned, Ricky Sisk, actually the biggest mover, I believe, so far of this race in that 8th position. They are up 27 spots from where they initially started at back in 35th. And yeah, this is going to be the final attempt at a green-white checker. So if that yellow flag does fly before we get back to the white flag, this race will end under caution. However the field is running when that caution comes out, field will be frozen. They'll come back around, take the white flag under caution, and then that's it from there. But what we're hoping for is we get back to the white flag under green flag conditions, and we can see these guys race it out to the finish. iRacing will not throw a caution on that last lap. So if they can make it back around for one full lap, we're going to see the finish. We're going to see these guys race back to the line for the win.
Well, I'm rolling the dice right now and seeing if I could get a Yahtzee. And I don't know what the odds are on getting this, finishing this under green. That would be ideal, but I don't know. Everybody's hungry right now. There's a lot of guys that have ran in the back of the field all night long. They're going to be looking. They're going to be feeling hungry. We'll see what these guys have. I'm kind of really excited for this finish. No matter which way it goes, whether we finish this under caution or we finish it under green, which is what I really hope, it's still going to be exciting.
You are absolutely right. And as you can see, lights are off on that iRacing pace car. The field lining back up 2 by 2, getting ready for this final attempt at a green-white checker finish with that front row of Frederick Seagraves, Jonathan Cofield. And I don't even know who to pick. I don't know who to tell you to keep an eye out for here at this point. So, for the risk of putting the broadcaster curse on someone, I'm just going to say, hope these guys have those belts pulled tight and they've got that grip on the steering wheel, because they are going to need it for this last 2 laps to the finish.
Well, I like these top 2 guys. That's Seagrave and Cofield. They found their way up front here about 3/4 of the race in. They've stayed up front, kept it clean. I kind of like those guys' chances. But one guy I'm watching in particular is Craig Bontrager back there in 4th. He's pretty much run up front all night. He's the only guy that's up there right now that's been basically in the top 5 all night, and he's currently in 4th. So I kind of like his chances.
And, shout out to him. He is one of the few drivers in this field that has not had to use a faster pair. Him and Nick Reed, I think, are the only 2 in this field that have not used one to this point. So it's gone his way so far. He's 2 laps away from trying to make it go his way for the finish as well. Well, we're about to bring you all the action here on V-Speed for this final 2-lap shootout. Pace car is off. We're getting ready to light them back up here.
Well, we've been here for 40, 50 laps right now. Our last green-white checker attempt. Can these guys get it done clean and green? We're about to find out. Flagman's got that green flag ready, and we are green flag once again for the last time. Frederick Seagraves is taking it up front with the 14 of Chance Taylor, pushing him along down on that low line. Down there on the outside there, you got Cofield. It looks like he doesn't have any friends at the moment there in the 53s.
And they are wrecking in the back of the field. This race is going to end under caution with Frederick Seagraves out front. It looked like I saw the 84, I believe that was, of Charles Stevens was involved in that. As this is going to end with Frederick Seagraves as the race winner with that caution out, this being the last attempt at the green-white checker.
Well, like I said, I liked his chances being up front there. He found his way up front late in this race and just kept it there. He battled with Whitley and McWhorter. Cofield there right along with them. We got Chance Taylor finishes in 2nd. What a great job by Chance Taylor. And rounding out our top 3 will be Jonathan Cofield for that 3rd place position. But congrats to Frederick Seagraves for this race win. First race of the season, season 5.
Yeah, really nice job. Going to end with 15 laps led. You saw 13 on the screen there. It'll be 15 as we get back around. And yeah, I was really hoping that we would be able to get it back around green to the end. We're going to take a look on the V-Speed instant replay. You could see as soon as we were going green, another stack up there like we had seen earlier in the evening. Keep an eye on that 84 car. I believe he was the first one that got turned in this wreck.
Oh, Michael Jones, somebody came down.
Yeah, contact between he and Michael Jones. Tyler Rice involved in that as well. Joseph McWhorter. Somebody comes in. I can't see exactly who that is. and has damage there at the end. That is Mark Whitley, one of our other front runners here throughout the evening, taken out as well. He already had some damage before that took place, though. You can see he's checked up. He's on the bottom just trying to avoid everything, and just the car slide down in front of him. Really unfortunate end there for him, as well as a few others that got caught up at that wreck.
Yeah, not a whole lot you can do in that case, but man, what an exciting race. And congrats to Seagraves again as they're about to cross the finish line in killer fashion here. Our top three crossing the finish line with Chance Taylor there on the inside and Jonathan Cofield surrounding our race winner of Frederick Seagraves as they celebrate this victory.
Yeah, not the 3-wide finish that we were necessarily hoping for, but they do come across the line 3-wide under caution. That's going to make it official. Frederick Seagraves from 24th on the grid, 15 laps led. He is going to be your season opening winner here at Talladega.
What a race. What a great way to start the season. You know, these guys, watching this race all night, these cars did seem a little unstable at times, and I believe they did the best with what they had. These cars are a lot of fun. Next week, we're going to go to where the heck are we going? We're going to California, I believe. So next week will be a lot of fun to watch as well, and I think that's where these cars will really shine. But it was a great showing here at Talladega tonight. Congratulations again to Seagraves.
Yeah, absolutely did everything that he needed to do to bring home that win and put himself in position as he burns it down on the front straightaway.
Well, while our winner celebrates, why don't we take a short commercial break, and we'll be back with our race results and, of course, our post-race interviews with our winner, our top three, actually.
A thriving job market and low cost of living, plus a wide range of veteran benefits, make Indiana the perfect place for veterans of the United States military to call home. Invets can help you find that home. We're an organization started by veterans to help former service members transition to civilian life in our state. Invets can help you find the community with the career opportunities, housing, schools, and amenities that fit your lifestyle. To learn more about Invets, visit us at invets.org today.
Superior quality, ultimate protection, and the highest level of craftsmanship. We make our gloves for the hard worker that wakes up every morning and gives 110%. You deserve the highest quality protective gear that's going to work for you day in, day out. We know it can be tough deciding what companies to trust for your hard-earned money. It's all in our name. We've mastered our craft to help you master yours. We make our gloves rugged, durable, and designed for you. Whatever the job is, we have you covered. We are your glove station.
We are back live at Talladega with our unofficial race results for the night here at the Goat Locker Xfinity Series Invets Infinity Series race. Frederick Seagraves brings home the win with Chance Taylor just behind him in that 14 car. Will take home second. The top three, Jonathan Cofield in the 53 rounds out your top three with Craig Bontrager finishing fourth, Nick Reed in fifth. You got Kyle Deering finishes in sixth after starting in 28th. Aaron Yancey started in 30th, finishes 7th. Ricky Sisk starts in 35th and finishes 8th. Great run for him. Charles Abert had some diversity tonight, finishes at ninth regardless. Zachary Tucker will finish this thing in 10th.
And taking a look just outside of our top 10, James Kaufman bringing it home 11th tonight with Duncan Fall finishing in 12th. 13th, we've got George Jewell, Colton Sisk. Strong result for Colton here this evening, starting 37th on the grid, coming home in 14th with Jamie Libke in 15th. Charles Stevens coming home in 16th after that last lap crash. Brandon Wallace, one of our other front runners that was caught up in some of the late calamity, coming home in 17th. Joseph McWhorter coming home 18th this evening. Daniel Parks in 19th. And rounding out the top 20 is going to be Chuck Pegleg Phelps.
Finishing in 21st, Mark Whitley, who led the first part of this race quite a bit, finds himself, like I said, in the 21st position. Behind him in 22nd will be Tyler Rice. Michael Jones, who also led a lot of this race, finds himself in 23rd, the last car on the lead lap. Stephen Davis, the first car a lap down, will finish the race in 24th. Brett Beaver finishes in 25th. Kevin Price will finish this race in 26th. Tyler Justice, 27th. Jesse Whittington will finish in 28th. Mark Cofield will finish in 29th, and Casey Jones wraps out your top 30.
Taking a look through the end of the results here, drivers that did not have the night that they were looking for. Dave Calvert going to come home in 31st this evening. Doug Ellingson coming home in 32nd. Scotty Yancey coming home 33rd after that blown engine. Jake Ellingson, not the birthday present that he was hoping for. Started 9th, going to come home in 34th this evening. Brock Price in 35th. Noah Hogard in 36th. Got Paul Hagan in 37th, with Samuel Yosef rounding out the field in 38th.
Well, that was an awesome race there, Daniel. It was a pleasure calling it with you, but why don't we bring up our race winner, Frederick Seagraves? You got a copy.
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, Ken Heber in the booth with you. Hey, great job on that race win tonight. I want to talk to you about how you got that done. You know, one thing I noticed is you started a little bit further back in the field, 24th, and you found your way up front, but it took you about 3/4 of the way to get up front. How did all that happen?
Yeah, so qualifying speed at super speedway just isn't my thing. So I just started in the back, decided to hang in the back. Everybody started clearing out their fast repairs, so I figured I should probably get up front before I needed to use mine. And it
I
just
agree.
it happened.
I agree with you there. So did you find the car unstable at all? We noticed a lot of checking up, maybe people bouncing off each other a little bit, but the cars seemed a little unstable tonight. What were you experiencing out there?
um I didn't personally feel like they were any different stability than normal, but I noticed a lot of pushing was happening off center. I don't know if they were trying to keep air going in to stay cool, and they were just pushing off center, which made a lot of people wiggle.
Well, congratulations on your first win here or the first win of the season here on the XL or Goat Locker Xfinity series. Who do you have to thank for getting you up front tonight?
And I got a lot of people. First of
Well,
all,
get
you
busy.
gotta thank Lincoln Tech and Save 22 in Invet, the Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs for sure, helping Goat Locker put all of this together. All of the admins that put all of the time in that they do. I got to thank Four Wide Motorsports for giving me an opportunity to race for them. My teammate Duncan Fall, who was here tonight. Dark Fusion Systems, who's on the hood. Gaming Chef Content, who's been with me since 2018. Wild Things Media. Uh, there's more. There's amazing people around me that I've enjoyed racing. Kept me on the sim. I got to thank Michigan National Guard, because I'm in there. 31 Bravo for all my MPs out there. Um, and just anybody who comes to race and watches. It's a blast.
Well, very awesome. Congrats again on this race win. So I know you got to be looking forward to you get Talladega knocked off at least one of the plate tracks, and you go into a season with points. It's like it's an extra bonus to come away with a win on a plate track. So
Yeah,
congrats.
it's redemption. I almost took the season opener last year at Daytona until I embarrassed myself in my rookie season and spun the tires and wrecked on the overtime
Oh
restart.
no.
So that was nice to not do that this year.
Well, congrats again, and we'll look forward to seeing what you can do at California next week.
Yeah, sounds good. Can't wait.
All right, that was our race winner, Frederick Seagraves. What a great job. So why don't we interview our second place there, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm standing by with Chance Taylor. Chance, this is Daniel and Ken up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir. I got you. How you doing?
Doing good, buddy. Well, I tell you what, it was kind of a quiet night from you. We didn't really seem to talk about you a whole lot there until the end. But coming home P2, just tell us a little bit about what your race was like. Were you just trying to bide your time and hope that some people kind of took themselves out of contention, or was it just, just what was your strategy going into the night?
That was exactly what I was doing, trying to stay out of all those wrecks right there. Thankful to have that fast repair, and I actually had one wreck I got in. I had, I think, 6.5 minutes of damage, another one like 2 minutes of damage. But with all the cautions there, I was able to stay in track and make my way back up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, definitely a strong result. You were actually up 16 places over where you started. And I know the race ended up finishing under caution, but going into that final green white checker attempt, did you have a certain plan in mind for how you wanted to try to attack it to get up there to the lead? Or were you just going to try to kind of react to what was going on around you?
Yeah, I actually PM'd Bontrager there, and I said, "Let's go, let's get it." And he said 10-4. So I was hoping he'd slide down there because I was gonna put my bumper to Seagraves there and push him as far as I could. But
Well, your
I hate the caution came out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, your friends are where you find them, so definitely understand that here late on. Got to go with who you got around you,
For
but
sure.
still, a really solid result coming home second here to start the season. Nothing wrong with that at all, especially with some of the craziness that we saw here. Before we let you go, Chance, who do you want to thank? Any sponsors or shout outs?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Invets, Jam Printing and Promotions, V Speed, and Alexander PCs.
Right. Well, there you have it from our second place finisher, Chance Taylor. Again, congrats on the P2, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you up here again before the season's out.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, guys.
Right.
All
And
right, I
that
guess
was
it's time. Oh, I'm
that was the
sorry for
second.
stepping on you there. Good job.
No, you're good. Time to talk to the hometown boy. Bring him up here. Ken, you've got our third place finisher, Jonathan Cofield.
Yeah, Jonathan, great run tonight. You started in the 12th position and kind of ran up front all night long, but there was some dicey moments for you all night long. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting race. Tried to qualify and maybe stay up front because there's going to be so many drivers. Then I tried to stick it 3 wide there in the beginning, and I guess we wasn't allowed to do that, and got got a little damage there. All in all, good race, I guess. Had to use my fast repair, and then there toward the end, had about 5 minutes of damage to fix. Got all that done, but not too bad. Kind of wish we'd have finished under green. Really hate it when we have to do that, the green white checkers, and especially when you make it to the last one. It's just whoever can come off two or something with the lead is going to get it. But all in all, had fun tonight.
Yeah, I was noticing that damage on your left rear there and wondering how much you were going to have speed for the end. And like I said, we weren't able to get a total green finish. But you know what? It was a blast for us calling this race up here, and watching you get through the field, making your way back up front. It was quite an awesome display getting that third place finish. So congrats to you for that.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Yeah, we got
And
it's just a lot of people in here learning. Still learning, and Talladega can be pretty intimidating, especially if you get 4 wide, 3 wide. Some people got one screen or triples or Oculus or something like that. It's everybody's got a different rig, so just
yeah, we
go ahead.
we even seen some net code out there tonight, so there was some of
Oh,
that going
really?
on too. So yeah, so it's a little bit of everything. It happens, but
It
man, you
does.
can't beat third place. You can't beat third place for coming out of a restrictor plate race. Third place, I wouldn't be complaining about that. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. When I had Brandon Wallace behind me with the first green white checkered, I told him I was just he was going to push it till it blew up, and I said, "Well, I'll hold the steering wheel straight till I'm looking the other way in the other direction." So,
Well, it's good talking to you. Who do you have to thank for getting you to that podium finish tonight?
yeah. First of all, I want to thank all y'all for doing the broadcast. Daniel and Eddie and you, Ken. Can't wait to go back and check it out. Invets first and foremost for coming on board and sponsoring the Invets, the Xfinity series. iRacing, MK Fire Design, Sim Motion, Cofield Asphalt Refinish, and Cofield Supply and Service. All my teammates at Bandits, and that's about it.
Well, thank you, Jonathan, and we'll look forward to seeing you race next week in California.
Thank you, sir.
All right, that was our third place finisher, and we've basically got all our interviews out of the way. Let's look at the schedule for this season, I should say. But I know next week, I believe we're at Fontana, California, right, Daniel?
You are indeed correct. We go to Auto Club next week, another big track. Going to be a lot of options for different lanes you can run. Then we head to Darlington, Milwaukee, Watkins Glen, Charlotte, and Kansas for the first half of the season, followed by Pocono, Dover, and Vegas to round out the regular season. And as you can see there, we've got Richmond and Texas in the round of 12, Michigan, Lucas Oil in December for the round of 8, with the championship at the best form of Atlanta, Old Atlanta, not the new super speedway version. Going to be a lot of slip and slide and tire saving, a lot of different strategies there. So that'll be a great race to finish out the year. But kicking it off here at Talladega this weekend, and then we got another good one next week.
Well, exciting racing here at Goat Locker all season long. I'm looking forward to California next week. Got to give a shout out to our sponsors for our race this week. Our title sponsor, Invets, helping vets in Indiana. Lincoln Tech, putting your potential to work. And Save 22, fighting first responder and veteran suicide. On behalf of myself, Daniel Cunningham, Eddie Smith, and the cameras were provided by Dougie Beard. I want to wish everybody a great rest of their Labor Day weekend, and stay safe out there. Enjoy your Monday with your families, and whatever you do out there, have a beer on me. And can't wait till you and I work together again there, Daniel.
Yes, sir. It's been fun. Appreciate you having me up here for this one.
And that'll be it for tonight's race. We'll see you next week at Fontana, California. Good night, everyone.